spoken before in one or two of these videos about this really nice piece of writing by Drew Leder called The Absent Body, in which he kind of runs an analysis of what, a phenomenological analysis of what being embodied implies in terms of our sense of who we are and the relationship between that sense and the perception and sensory awareness, that kind of thing. And he proposes a couple of sort of understandings of the body in relation to that and gives them names, and one of which is the ecstatic body, which I think I've talked about before, in which one feels oneself constantly leaving the body, if you like. When we look out, we do that, we look out, and now the sense of our gaze has a direction to it, and that direction is outside of ourselves. And similarly, when we listen to something, there's a sense in which our hearing is also making a kind of journey away from us. It's going from here to somewhere else. And he says that all of our senses are in a way like this. So they're driven by intentionality, or they appear to be. So we have this overall attribute, this overall quality, a sense of our own selves as being not located in our body, but as being constantly flowing out of it, ecstatically thrown out of it, away from the center. He also has this related idea, which he calls the recessive body, in which, as the name implies, we are constantly kind of receding from ourselves. And here he gives examples, which I think again I've spoken about before, to do with the distance that we always experience between our sense of self and the organs of our sensory awareness. We can look all around us, we can look at our own bodies, but we can't look at the organ of sense, we can't look at our eyes as they are. And obviously we can look in mirrors, but that's a different thing. We can't listen to our ears, and we can't taste our taste buds or touch our sense organs, the nerve endings in our fingertips. So wherever we place our attention, the place is where we're not. So we're constantly receding from our sense of self. We can't find ourselves when we look for ourselves in that sense. And he also picks up on something that Merleau-Ponty talks about, and others, I think, in relation to that rather odd sensation you can develop when you pick up a pencil or a stick and you run it over a surface that's sort of rough or got some texture to it. Usually, or certainly if you do it for a few minutes, you almost stop realizing you've got a stick in your hand or a pencil in your hand. And it's kind of like you feel the sensation of the roughness at the end of the pencil. You don't really think, oh, my fingertips are vibrating because this pencil's going over a rough surface. You say, oh, I can feel it's really rough. And again, Leder indicates that that's a sort of demonstration of the recessiveness of our body. If our fingertips are not only we're not only not in our fingertips, but our sense of self has extended beyond those fingertips, leaving those fingertips way behind. So we're not there anymore either. Okay, so you have this sense of the recessive body, and the one I mentioned before, the ecstatic body. The reason I think one of the reasons why I'm talking about this right now is because there's an exercise I've been messing about with recently to do with perceptual attention, if I can call it that, which is that rather odd sensation. But for example, I'm looking up this disused railway line here. I seem to have done this gesture so many times recently to the camera. I'm looking up this disused railway line. So if I stand here, I'm looking at the point on the horizon where the railway line narrows. But what I'm doing now is, although my eyes are pointed in that direction, I'm trying to activate a kind of visual awareness which is not located where my eyes are pointing. I think we do it all the time. We're always sort of subliminally or peripherally aware anyway. We see things when they're coming from our periphery. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm just trying to gain some conscious control, if you like, but possibly, or awareness at least, of that sensation, so that I'm aware, I'm looking in that direction, but my focal visual awareness is actually pointing over there somewhere. So although I can only make that sort of vague shape, I am attending in that direction. To make sure no one's behind me, otherwise I'm going to look at a real nutter. Nope, okay, so I've still got my eyes pointed in the direction of the horizon, but my visual awareness is roughly over there where that tree is. What I'm trying to do now is I'm trying to shift my visual awareness backwards. I'm actually locating where my finger is. As my finger passes the point of, where the shadow of my eye socket is, I know it's no longer there. I know I can no longer see it. It's not making any impression on my peripheral vision. But it's not difficult to keep my visual attention on that point, even though I know I can't see it. So what I'm doing now is, and this probably looks really mad, but it doesn't really matter, is I'm keeping that visual attention going. So I'm attending to a finger, which I know where the finger is, obviously, because I can feel it in my proprioception. I'm keeping that visual attention going to my finger, and now I'm sending that visual intention. My finger's no longer there, so I can't use proprioception anymore. But I can still keep my visual attention going. And now I'm sending it inside my head, which is rather bizarre. So even though my eyes are pointed in the direction of the horizon, my visual attention, I'm trying to visually attend, that's better to put, to a point inside of my head, just behind my eyes. Okay. It's a really odd sensation. I would recommend anybody try this. Now what I'm going to try to do, it's about, I'm attending to a point about 4 inches behind my eyes right now. What I'm going to do is I'm going to try and send that forward. So I'm gradually moving the attention, my visual attention, focus, forward. It's coming through the bridge of my nose right now. It's very tempting to cross my eyes, to really put my real attention on it. I'm resisting that sensation. Okay, I'm sending that visual attention forward. It's almost like a dot moving up the railway line right now. Sending it forward, and sending it forward. And now it's at the horizon, and I'm looking where I was before. But it doesn't feel the same. It feels like I sort of wrap my arms around the visual field. But I can still feel that trajectory that my attention took a moment ago. What's that got to do with Drew Leder's ecstatic body? Well, I think it's to do with, I think it's a reading to me making this exercise, both in terms of an ecstatic and a recessive body in Leder's terminology. Trying to sense the intentional vector which allows me to look into the distance and feel myself rushing away from that. And then what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to just keep that attention going and perhaps activate some of the cognitive apparatus to do with sight, but not include the eyes in that. Swing it around, put it inside the head, and try to reconnect, I suppose, to the recessive body. So I guess I am trying to look at my eyeballs, if that makes any sense at all, or look at the visual apparatus, the stuff that's usually receding, usually absent. Usually when you look through yourself, that's where you're not. I guess I'm trying to touch this particular void, and now I can see some people on the horizon, and I'm looking at them, and I'm feeling their location within that strange little loop I just constructed.